The Mongolian desert is cold before sunrise. Not the gentle cool of a temperate morning, but a sharp, bone-deep cold that the darkness holds close and only releases slowly, reluctantly, as the first pale light begins to separate the horizon from the sky. The sand is still. The low scrub that dots the floodplain holds its shape without movement. There is no wind. And in the shadow of a low sandstone ridge, something is watching. They are not moving. They have not moved for some time. 5 animals, crouched low against the rock, their bodies pressed almost flat, their eyes fixed on the open ground below. At this distance, in this light, they are nearly invisible, their feathered bodies patterned in warm browns and dusty ochres that dissolve into the color of the stone behind them. They could be part of the landscape. They have made themselves part of it. Below them, perhaps 80 meters away, a group of Protoceratops grazes along the edge of a dry streambed. The herd is spread loosely across the flat ground, the animals moving with the unhurried rhythm of animals that feel, for now, at ease. They do not yet know what is watching them. The light is growing. The hunt will begin soon. They are not large animals. Fully grown, a velociraptor stands roughly half a meter at the hip and stretches no more than 2 meters from snout to tail. They weigh, at most, 15 kilograms. In the company of the giants that rule other parts of the Cretaceous world, they would barely register. And yet, here on these ancient Mongolian floodplains, they are among the most formidable predators alive. Not because of their size. Because of what they do with it. Scientists believe that Velociraptor was among the more cognitively complex predators of its time. Its brain-to-body ratio was high relative to most other dinosaurs, and the structures associated with spatial awareness, sensory processing, and rapid behavioral adjustment were proportionally well developed. In practical terms, this means an animal capable of reading its environment in real time, of adjusting its behavior in response to unexpected changes, and, evidence suggests, of coordinating with others in ways that substantially increase the effectiveness of a hunt. The pack numbers 5. Each animal carries the same fundamental toolkit, a lightweight, agile frame built for acceleration, binocular vision that provides precise depth perception, and, most distinctively, the enlarged, sickle-shaped claw on the second toe of each foot, held elevated off the ground when walking, deployed with precision when needed. It is not a slashing weapon, as was once assumed. Scientists now believe it functioned more like a grappling hook, used to pin struggling prey, to maintain contact, to hold on while the animal beneath fights to escape. Their feathers are not for flight. They never were. They serve for insulation in the cold desert nights, and almost certainly for communication, subtle shifts in posture and plumage that carry meaning between animals attuned to reading exactly these signals. This group has hunted together before. The movements between them carry the ease of familiarity. The Protoceratops below are not easy prey. This is important to understand. Each adult weighs between 100 and 180 kilograms, 10 to 12 times the weight of the animals watching them. They are low, broad, and heavily muscled, with a beak capable of delivering a crushing bite and a neck frill that, while not a weapon in itself, signals size and intention. When cornered, they do not simply yield. Fossil evidence has preserved, in remarkable detail, a velociraptor and a protoceratops locked together in what appears to be mutual combat, both animals killed in the same moment, perhaps by a collapsing sand dune, their bones still intertwined after 67 million years. The velociraptor's claw is embedded in the protoceratops' throat. The protoceratops' jaws are clamped around the velociraptor's arm. The hunt carries real risk. These animals know it, in whatever way animals know things, encoded not in thought but in the deep physiological vocabulary of elevated heart rate and heightened sensation that precedes commitment to action. The pack watches the herd below with absolute attention. There is one animal slightly apart from the others, a younger adult, perhaps, or one that has moved to the edge of the group to feed on lower vegetation. It is not injured. It is not visibly slower than the rest. But it is separated by perhaps 15 meters from the nearest other adult, and 15 meters, under the right circumstances, is enough. The raptors have noticed this. They have been watching it for some time. What happens next is not visible as planning in any human sense. There are no signals that an outside observer would easily read as deliberate coordination. And yet, over the course of several minutes, the 5 animals on the ridge begin to move, slowly, separately, each taking a slightly different line across the terrain, using every available feature of the landscape as cover. One moves along the base of the ridge, staying in shadow. 2 others circle wide to the east, using a low fold in the ground that drops them below the sightline of the grazing herd. The remaining 2 hold their position on the high ground for now, still watching, still waiting. Scientists believe that in pack hunting animals, the timing of individual movements is regulated by a constant monitoring of the group's overall position, each animal aware not only of the prey but of where the others are, what they are doing, and what gap remains to be filled. The animal at the edge of the herd has not looked up. It is still feeding. The 2 animals on the east flank are now within 40 meters, moving through the scrub at a pace so controlled it barely disturbs the sand. Each footfall is placed with precision. Their bodies are low, their tails extended straight behind them for balance, their heads absolutely level. They are not rushing. Rushing would be a mistake. The moment the herd detects them, everything changes, and the window closes. The one remaining on the ridge shifts its weight forward. It is ready. The light is fully up now. The desert is warming. Somewhere to the south, a small bird calls once and is silent. And then the animal below finally raises its head. It sees the 2 approaching from the east first, and the alarm is immediate, a sharp, resonant call that carries instantly across the flat ground, and the entire herd lurches into motion. But motion, in this moment, is exactly what the pack has been waiting for. Movement is noise. Movement is distraction. Movement breaks the careful spacing of the herd and creates, for a few critical seconds, exactly the kind of disorder in which an isolated animal becomes truly isolated. The 2 on the east flank break into a full run. The single animal on the ridge launches downward from the high ground, taking a line that cuts directly across the path between the target animal and the herd. Not to attack yet, to cut off. To prevent the gap from closing. The target animal turns, finds that route blocked, turns again, and in that second of recalculation, the first raptor reaches it. What follows is fast and violent and loud in a way the previous silence makes more striking by contrast. The initial contact is not a killing blow. It is not meant to be. The first animal hits the flank of the Protoceratops at speed, driving in with the sickle claw to establish grip, its full body weight swinging behind the momentum of the run. The Protoceratops does not fall, it is far too heavy and too strong for that, but it staggers, and the stagger costs it another half-second of orientation. The second animal comes in from the opposite side almost simultaneously. The Protoceratops spins, trying to bring its beak to bear, and it nearly succeeds. One raptor is caught by a glancing blow that sends it rolling across the sand. It is up almost immediately, shaking, but retreating by several meters to reassess. The remaining animals do not relent. They work in rotation, never all engaging at once, always keeping at least one animal fresh and mobile, never allowing the prey to settle, to plant its feet, to find its balance. It is exhausting for the prey in a way that a single, direct attack would not be. The Protoceratops is strong. But it is fighting 5 directions at once, and it cannot sustain this indefinitely. The end, when it comes, takes longer than it might appear in the imagining of it. These things often do. The desert absorbs the sounds of it with the same indifference it brings to everything. They feed with the same ordered efficiency they hunted with. The dominant animals feed first. The others wait, not passively, but at a specific distance that carries meaning, close enough to maintain claim, far enough to avoid direct conflict. Scientists believe that in social predators, the feeding hierarchy is not simply a matter of aggression. It is a negotiated structure, maintained because the group as a whole benefits more from cohesion than any individual benefits from defection. The injured animal, the one that was briefly knocked aside, feeds. It is moving carefully, favoring one side. Whether it will recover fully is uncertain. On these floodplains, where the margin between sufficient and not sufficient is narrow, even a minor impairment can shift the balance. For now, the pack has eaten. The morning sun climbs above the ridge. The desert resumes its silence. It is tempting to look at what these animals do and reach for the word intelligence, and then immediately qualify it, as though the word itself might be too generous for an animal separated from us by 67 million years of evolution. But scientists increasingly suggest that intelligence is not a single quality owned by a single lineage. It is a solution. It is what happens when a nervous system, under sufficient pressure, finds that the best response to a complex world is to model it, to predict it, to share that model with others and act accordingly. Velociraptor did not reason in any way we would recognize. But it solved problems. It communicated. It adjusted. It cooperated. And on these ancient desert floodplains, that was enough to take prey 10 times its own weight, to feed the group, to survive another day in a world that offered nothing easily. The ridgeline is empty now. The pack has moved on, following whatever signal reaches them next. They leave behind the marks of their passing in the sand, and the soft desert wind is already filling them in. By midday, there will be nothing left to show they were ever here.